Hey there guys, surprise! I know I haven't done a lot of writing and live tweeting for Fear the Walking Dead's final season. Not that I usually write a whole lot about Fear, but I'm usually a little vocal about my thoughts. In case you were wondering how I'm feeling about this season, or want to have a little breakdown session to talk through feelings about this episode, some grievances from this final season so far, and beyond, I thought that it would just be nice to make a little video and to share kind of a bunch of my thoughts. What will this video consist of? It will include what I haven't liked this season, and on the finale, what I have enjoyed, and then a discussion on the last 10 minutes or so of the mid-season finale, followed by what I hope to see in the final episodes. That will include discussion of Morgan and Lenny James's send-off, and that final mysterious scene in which we saw Alicia's arm placed into a bag. What? Who is that person? I honestly don't know. So that being said, let's dive right in. I'm going to be honest, I had a tough time watching this episode. I watched about the first 30 minutes, and when Morgan and Mo were back in the flooded houseboat, I had to stop, watch something else, and then I came back to the episode. Honestly, that is how I felt about, I want to say, half of these episodes. Definitely the penultimate episode of this first half of the season. The Kings County episode where Morgan goes back to Georgia, I enjoyed the most until Grace was bitten. Episodes 2 and 3 piqued my curiosity, and I'm sure a bunch of yours, with the teases of a possible cure to the Walker bites, which we now know isn't really a cure as much as a way to prolong and stave off the Walker infection for upwards of like a week or maybe 2 at least. Overall, this was just not a great mid-season. I still don't really understand the necessity to jump forward 7 years in time unless it was to connect the show with the Walking Dead timeline in its final season. For what it's worth, showrunners Ian Goldberg and Andrew Chambliss confirmed to me before the final season started that Fear is now lined up with, they believe, with season 11 of The Walking Dead. However, they also told me in that same interview that that was purely coincidence, and not because it was an order from anyone on high in the Walking Dead universe, which I thought was a little bizarre. Like, do we believe that? I don't know. Mostly my problem with the time jump is that if we were going to jump forward 7 years, I don't get why Morgan and everyone felt pressured into working for some kids at P.A.D.R.E. When they could have escaped to literally any other point of the country. We watched Morgan up and go to Kings County in Georgia this season. I really just don't understand why he and Grace and then Sherry and Dwight just didn't take their kids and run off to live their own happily ever afters. Often I feel like Fear writes itself into these little corners where the characters do things that don't really make sense or betray their characters a little bit in order to just create conflict that's usually resolved in 1 to 2 episodes. I was a little frustrated and underwhelmed by the utilization and reveal of just P.A.D.R.E this season, and I don't know if other people felt that as well. After it was teased as like this potential answer and safe haven seasons ago, it turns out to be little more than a Peter Pan Neverland run by 2 kids who lost their dad, and because of that, they believe that all other kids would also be better off without their parents. Perhaps that's an oversimplification. I get that they wanted to carry out their dad's plan, but they went about it in a really bizarre way. Like, I get that Strike and her sibling Crane, aka Sam and Ben, likely had some PTSD from losing their dad, but that didn't mean that every other kid also needed to go through what they did by being ripped away from their parents. I don't think this is what their dad would have wanted. And I really wish that like Morgan or Madison or anyone who had lost a kid or anyone had mentioned that to Strike and to her brother to try to get through to them and say something like, hey, I think you probably could have honored your dad by building a community that welcomed everyone. It felt like that just would have been a reasonable thing to do. I don't think I missed an attempt at anyone trying that. I just thought that would have been more believable than adults getting tricked and sucked into stealing kids away from their parents for no good reason, really. I would say by the end of these 6 episodes, I really didn't feel anything for Sam or for Ben. I didn't empathize with them. The reveal about their father was enjoyable, but honestly, with only 12 episodes instead of 16 on the show's final season, I really would have preferred to see more time on screen with the cast of characters that we've been tuning into Fear to watch. That said, I didn't like how much of the show's large cast was underutilized. Other than about a handful or so of characters, it was sad to see Daniel relegated to mainly a background character who really only popped up whenever someone needed saving. I saw someone make a joke about how Luciana and Victor Strand had the best character arcs of the season. It was really surprising initially that we didn't see either of them. I imagine Coleman Domingo's schedule was a little difficult to work around, just because, I couldn't believe we didn't see them once, or at least like had them teased. But then I kind of realized that he's everywhere these days, and if you're not familiar with his schedule, I'm gonna list off a few of the things, because I went and I looked him up on IMDb to be like, I think he has like at least 5 projects, and there were more than that. He currently voices a character in the new Transformers movie. He also voices a character in an animated film named Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken that I've seen billboards for when I run in LA. He's going to be in the Color Purple remake. When I went to the movies the other day, he was in a trailer for a film called Drive Away Dolls that I believe is coming out this summer. He also has a new show airing on AMC Monday, June 19th, called You Are Here. The man is busy, but I think we're going to see a lot more of him in the back half of the season. More on that in a bit. What else didn't I like about this season and in the mid-season finale? I wish the series didn't kill off Grace. I wasn't a big fan of her death. However, Karen David's performance in her final moments brought me to tears. I think it was one of the few moments in these past 6 episodes where I just truly felt something. And I can't believe the series killed off Dwight and Sherry's son, Finch, and then had the two break up at the end. It felt really cruel after everything that they've been through with Negan and then finding each other against all odds. I thought the reunion on Fear was a really beautiful moment in the Walking Dead universe. I know it can be difficult for couples to stay together after losing a child, but I just didn't feel like that final scene between Dwight and Sherry was earned. After June and John, and then Grace and Morgan, I was hoping that this would be the one couple to have a happy ending. And it felt like we were robbed. It was also awful that Finch's death and final moments were off screen. I did like his line delivery when June asked him what should be done to Shrike, and Finch unexpectedly says, "No one should have to feel like this." I just really wanted Sherry and Dwight to be happy. I've seen others say this. Actually, you know what? I realize I'm already at like 9 minutes and 30 seconds, and I still have a bit that I want to get through, so I think I'm going to cut this video right here, and then I'm going to just save the rest for part 2, where I'm going to talk about Madison and Morgan and that end scene and what I want to see out of the next final episodes of Fear the Walking Dead. So if you've been waiting for all that other stuff, it is in the next video.